Hello and welcome to the BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup here at Suzuka, broadcasting live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Ryan Walker with Marco Barbonet on the cameras. And we're here for the debut round of this championship. And Ryan, I'm really impressed. We've got a fantastic turnout. We've got like 35 cars, which is absolutely superb. We're going to see some great racing across the three events today.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Sam. Good evening, everyone. The entry list. Just looking at it at the moment. I'm just looking at it. What have we got? 35 cars, you said. So, yeah, 35 cars for the opening round of the series is absolutely fantastic, and I think we're in for a great evening of racing.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Of course, this series, as long as it's the same as last season, I'm pretty confident it is. 20-minute first race, 20-minute second race, which the grid for that second race will be a random reverse of the first race's results. And then race 3, the starting order for that will be in the order of the finishing results of race 2. If you didn't understand that, that's probably my fault for not explaining it very well, but you will understand it by the end of today. 12 round series, this, of course, and hopefully you'll stick around with us for the entire championship. We have got about 4 more minutes of qualifying to go, and Ryan, of course, this car, the Porsche, it's a different beast to any kind of GT car or anything. It provides its own challenges, and will be very difficult for the drivers to handle in these early rounds of the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. I've done some races with this car in the past, and it's a fun little car to drive. But on the other hand, it can also bite you, and if you even try and wrestle or overdrive the car, it can end up biting you in the bum. But on the other hand, that's why I like the car. It's just you're on the edge all the time, and it's a good challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll see that throughout today. And of course, Suzuka as well. It's a legendary circuit, Ryan, and it's quite a long circuit as well, of course, so we shouldn't get too much lapping, at least we hope. And yeah, that is a fast-flowing circuit. Maybe this isn't a car which you'd necessarily associate with this type of circuit, but yeah, it's going to be a difficult change of direction. It's narrow in places, and that understeer, which maybe is a characteristic of the Porsche, that could really affect the drivers.
Yeah, I was speaking to some drivers during practice, and yeah, they were saying they were struggling a little bit with some stuff like locking the front left up into the hairpin, and also struggling with some understeer in the some of the slow speed corners. So yeah, it's there's different aspects of the Porsche that makes it a challenge, but I think it'll make the with that as well. It'll make the racing so much closer tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've seen in previous rounds of this championship, of course, back in the first 2 seasons when it was a GT3 championship, and we saw Racecraft absolutely crucial with this reverse grid, Ryan. And I think we're expecting big reverse grids by the wheel that we've got. I think Racecraft in this championship is going to be more important than anything. I think Josh Thompson was a great illustrator of that last season, where he wasn't necessarily the fast driver, but always was great in the Racecraft. And yeah, that's something that is probably going to be, along of course with natural pace, an absolutely bundle aspect if these drivers are going to challenge for the championship.
Yeah, racecraft is going to be very important in a series like this. I mean, yeah, you could be the quickest driver and you might have the quickest car or the quickest setup, but it doesn't always win you races or even win you championships. It's all about, as you say, just down to racecraft, being sensible, not making any silly moves, and yeah, it's just if you want to win championships, you've got to be consistent and just score the points. Winning isn't always everything at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge for the drivers, and of course the championship doesn't matter too much at this point, but you want to keep on your toes. You want to rack up as many points as you possibly can. I'm not sure what the drop round scores drop round rules, sorry, are important for no drop rounds apparently. So that's a bit more of a challenge. You've got to ride for every single race. And of course, Ryan, this will be a nice little getaway for many of the drivers who, usually do the touring car championships, the Kia championships, and the Master championships. And I expect there's going to be a few regulars in those series who maybe are a little bit slow to get up to speed in this first race. So we might see quite a bit of field spread, I think so.
Yeah, there's quite a few names in this series that we don't normally see. Most of the names that I'm looking at the moment on live timing, we see in the MX5 or we see in the touring car championship as you mentioned. So yeah, I think it's good to see. It's good to see people from the other series on BSR, from the Mazda and the Kia series, coming over to the Porsche and giving it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a wide range of drivers. We are just reaching the end of qualifying. The drivers can now complete their times before we go through the grid for race 1 of the evening here at Suzuka. Michael Hall just crossing the line there. He's currently in 16th and got Miguel Freitas. I don't know if that was a donut or whether that was actually a mistake from him. I think a couple of drivers maybe practicing their starts. That is going to be an interesting factor. A long run down into turn 1, Ryan. I don't know if you've ever tried to start in this car, but it's not quite as simple as just going in thought. It basically is about that, but to control that wheel spin, and with this a new car to many of these drivers, we could see perhaps some interesting turn 1 antics.
Yeah, getting this car. Oh, as Lee Deemer spins in the chicane. Yeah, getting this car off the line it's it's not as easy as you think. It's kind of you've got to you've got to give it full revs, but as you get come off the line, you've got to kind of just slowly release, slowly shift up and get it off the line, or you've just basically got to get the start perfect. Otherwise, it can just end up going downhill. And getting this car off the line, especially around Suzuka with this long home straight, is going to be absolutely vital going into turn 1.
Yeah, just Kip Stevens crossing the line. But yeah, those starts are going to be absolutely crucial because not necessarily the easiest track to overtake and not necessarily the most easy car to overtake in. So I wonder if that's going to be a theme of today. We'll have to wait and see. I think that's all the drivers now crossing the line, but we're still just ticking down the time until the qualifying will end. Yeah, do expect overtaking to be a little bit difficult today, Ryan, because Suzuka, I think it's a track a bit like Silverstone where you can kind of get a bit stuck behind another driver. There's a lot of corners, and whilst there are a few straights around here, it's difficult to stay close all the way around the lap.
Yeah, I think overtaking in some areas of this track is going to be really difficult. I mean, especially with the down the downforce as well in the rear. It's going to be, some people might try and go with a kind of a low downforce setting for the straights, and some people might try and go with maybe medium or even a high downforce setting on the rear just for the high speed corners. So yeah, it's going to be a different challenge today, but also on the other hand, it's going to make it exciting. And yeah, some people in the high downforce settings be on be on the will be on a disadvantage, and the people with high downforce will be at an advantage in the high speed corners.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. I wasn't even sure if there was a pace car or not. There isn't a pace car, so I'll talk about the starts. Was certainly relevant. Nick Madsen on pole position for this first race with Marco Mogren in second place. Then it's Chris Wood in third, Anwar Smith in fourth, and Rob Hartley starts in fifth place. Then it's Chris Daines, Andy Shield, Emil Anderson, Danny Henney, and Brian Holmes running out the top 10. I'm sure the rest of the standings will be running through for you now. And we are just waiting for, it might just be Nick Madsen. I think we've also got Kip Stevens and a couple of others just to get onto the grid as well. And we will very soon be underway for this Porsche event. Anyone who you think will be strong in this race, Ryan? Madsen on pole position, but he was only a 10th clear in qualifying.
If I had to pick a winner, I would have to go for, judging by qualifying, I would have to go for Marco Mogren.
So here we go. Away we go here in the BSR Simmortal Cup. It's a good start for Madsen, really good save, just about covers off Mogren, and that's absolutely crucial as they head into first curve. And he has just about repelled that attack. Anwar Smith already getting ahead of Chris Wood, with Chris Daines actually getting ahead of Rob Hartley as well. There's almost a car off in the background there, but they seem to have got through pretty cleanly so far. Also, Diego Murray just getting past Adam McNally in the background, but this snake of cars goes through this legendary section of corners. As they reach Dunlop, it might just start spreading out here at Suzuka. But yeah, very impressive start there, Ryan. I didn't see too much contact whatsoever.
Yeah, just looking through the pack, Sam. There wasn't anything major to report, and it looks like everyone made it through the first couple of corners unharmed. And yeah, so far so good on lap one.
You might just have a move in the background there. That was very close between a couple of drivers. Madsen just taking the middle of the circuit. Does not want to get overtaken. Does not want to have a surprise attack against him, with Marco Morgan very close behind. But Anwar Smith, what a start that was from him, up into third position. Other big movers, Adam McNally's now gone down 2 positions. So yeah, lost out to Murray and Freitas. Justin Bollis up a couple of positions, Richard Haynes up 3 positions. But there's really not too many losers out there. And so, yeah, it's a very clean start. And just making a small gap, half a second, Nick Madsen. Will anyone make a move down into 130R?
No, I'm not sure if someone makes a move into 130R, they've got bigger cojones than me. So that's for
Cars already going off in the background. There is an instant penalty, I think. If you get 20 instants, you get a penalty point, and then after every instant after that, you get another penalty point. So they can afford to do that a few times. 20-minute race, so probably about 10 laps, so they can afford to go off at 130R consistently. Now, probably the best overtaking spot on the circuit, going into turn 1. You can see that slipstream effect not too effective in these cars, and so there doesn't seem to be too many moves right now.
Yeah, this is the thing. As I said earlier, some people might be using the low downforce for the straights, and some other people will be using maybe a high downforce setting for corners like these that we're going through right now. Just watching Anwar Smith at the moment, and he's right behind Marco, and I don't know what to do if I was Anwar. Maybe try and go for a move early, or just sit behind and just see how it pans out. What would you do, Sam?
I think you gotta go for a move if you get half a chance, to be honest, because I think Marco is going to struggle to keep up with Nick Madsen, and actually might be able to go for a move here at Anwar Smith. This hairpin, in real life, it's a great overtaking spot. In sim racing, it's not quite so good because, yeah, I'm not quite sure, but it's just difficult to kind of surprise one another down into that corner. And in these cars, it is so tough to get the car stopped, let alone go for a move into that corner. That one they've just gone through is only just flat out in this car. There's so much, yeah, you get so much wheel spin out of the hairpin. It can actually be quite difficult to keep your foot flat across the speed corner. Patience, and now floor it. And almost on the grass, you've got to go. Just a bit of a gap spreading out behind these guys. Emil Anderson under a bit of pressure from Brian Haynes. He's probably the guy who's looking like he could make a move soon. And we'll see if he can maybe make a move into the chicane.
Oh, I was just watching a car there running wide on the exit of 130R. That was Christy Wood, I believe it was, just running wide. And yeah, that's the thing with 130R now. It's having tarmac on the outside. You can run wide a little bit, but the only thing is, if you keep doing that, you'll just rack up your off tracks and you'll get a disqualification.
Yeah, they do not want that whatsoever. But yeah, those penalty points will certainly not be very handy for these drivers. And also, it's just a bit risky to go out there onto the fake grass or the AstroTurf, wherever it is. It's yeah, it's very easy to lose the rear end if you do that. Certainly Madsen building up a gap for himself now. It's 1.1 seconds between the top two, with Anwar Smith showing very good pace at the moment. sticking right onto the tail of the driver currently in second place. Down that straight, of course, Emma Anderson was able to hold off the attack from Brian Holmes, and actually Diego Melrose very close behind, only 1.5 tenths behind, and you can see there's not any chance to go for a move into this one. And all about just lining it up. Can he get a better exit? Maybe he can go for a move into the hairpin. I think Holmes is going to have to
he's
stay
flashing the
defensive
lights.
here, and he's going for the flashing lights as well. Can he look to the inside here? Not quite Melrose. And just has to stick it behind, but nice drive once again. And this one is not over. It'll erupt again, going into Spoon Curve.
Yeah, I've watched Diego a few times in other series, and he's a very, very quick drive. He's very, very quick, but sometimes he just seems to. It's just Jesus! I thought he was going up the inside there. Yeah, he seems to, when he gets frustrated, he just seems to do something silly. But yeah, he just needs to calm down, just settle down again, just maybe just sit behind for a little while and see how it pans out. And if he's quicker than Brian, then try and get by as quickly as possible.
What Chris Wood has just been overtaken by Chris Danes. I think that may have been teammates, because at least my liveries, Ryan, they have got the same one. Do they? No, maybe they don't. No, so they're Team Mad and Project 4 Racing. They've just got similar liveries on my end at least. And yeah, I think if we could possibly see a replay of that move, because I think it may have been a mistake actually from Chris Wood. I think it was the 130R, and here it was. Chris Wood D just run right wide here, and you can run wide there, but not quite that far. Got onto the grass and actually did pretty well, because when you go off the circuit like that, right, it's very easy to come back on and completely miss your braking point and wipe out the driver just ahead.
Yeah. The other thing you've got to be aware of as well, if you run wide on the exit of 130R, is sometimes there's not that much grip out there. So if you spin the wheels up, depending on what car it is, you can possibly get too much wheel spin and just lose grip and spin around and bounce on. Say that again. Bounce back onto the track and hit the wall on the other side.
Yeah, plenty of drivers have done that over time. I remember actually Josh Thompson did it in a GT car in season 1 of this championship. Oh, I think I may have got them. No, that was season 1. He was near the end of the championship actually. And yeah, from the lead, managed to put it into the wall. So very easy to do that. Just out in the lead, it's closed up a bit. Nick Madsen's only 7 tenths ahead. Now, he had pulled out that gap to 1.2 seconds at one point, but on that last lap, Marco Mogren was 1.5 tenths fast on this lap. Just looking at the sector times, he's gained about 2 tenths on this lap as Mogren, so he's closing up a bit. But if these guys fight, Ryan, I think that'd be a bit unwise. You know, this is a long old day of racing. We've got a reverse grid coming up, which remember could put these guys in, you know, 30th position potentially for the second race. I think it's probably best just to, you know, rack up these points, get some good points for the championship, and then go again in race 2.
Yeah, it's only race 1, so there's no point. I guess in a way, there's no point of these guys doing anything risky or trying to sell it out. I mean, what are we on? We're only on lap 5 at the moment, so it's better just to maybe just sit where they are at the moment and just maybe sit there until the end of the race, or just wait until maybe towards the end of the race and then maybe try making some moves. But yeah, these top 3 guys at the front just seem to be equal pace at the moment.
Miguel Freitas currently going side by side with Danny Henny and actually getting that move done. Was he ahead of Henny before? Freitas, so Henny's actually was ahead of Holmes and has dropped a couple of positions. So Henny down 3 positions now from his start, and has actually dropped back a little bit into the Youth Energy car of Teddy Clark as well. So he's got to keep his wits about him here. Oh, he nearly gets overtaken through here. He's struggling a bit, is Danny, at the moment. Maybe just losing a bit of momentum. Can Teddy Clark maybe go for an inside move into the hairpin? I think he's just too far back. You've got to be really close. And there's a car. It's Rob Hartley. And down into 9th position. Hartley was running as high as 6th place at the start of this lap, and he's lost a little bit of momentum. Is Brian Holmes going to be able to challenge him? Here was the mistake from Hartley then. And he's just locked up the rears, hasn't he?
Yeah, it just looks like he maybe just tried to carry too much speed into the hairpin, or maybe just a little bit too much brake bias on the rear.
Chris Danes all of a sudden closing right up to the back of Anwar Smith. Remember, Smith was putting all kinds of pressure on Marco Mogren at the start of this race, but the tides have turned, and Chris Wood has actually been able to go with them. Go with the Project 4 racing driver. Anwar Smith has got to make sure that he keeps his car on the track, because he's coming under a lot of pressure at the moment. So too is Nick Madsen out in the lead. At last lap, he lost another quarter of a second to Mogren. And this one, from looking like an easy race victory, Ryan, it's going to be a difficult one to convert this into a race one win.
Yeah, but I'm just watching Marco now, and he just seems to be, his car just seems to be a lot more stable in the corners. Nick seems to be, I don't know if his tyres have went off, or if he's just backing off a little bit and just sitting up, lapping at a pace that he's comfortable with. But yeah, Marco's starting to get the hammer down.
Yeah, he's certainly not going to settle for second place, I think, today. They have built up a nice little gap actually behind them. So this is very much just a duel for the lead. So far, I haven't seen either of them make a mistake. And Nick is a very experienced driver in the Porsche. I know it's the main car that he drives, so should be very strong. And Marco Mogren, haven't seen too much of him, I must say. I don't know if you've seen much of Marco before, Ryan?
I've watched him in a few other leagues before. He's one of the quick guys on iRacing from times I've watched him, but I haven't really seen him around that much at the moment, unless he's been racing that I don't know about. But yeah, anytime I've watched him, he's always been a steady pair of hands.
Yeah, and he's certainly proving that at the moment. He's just a little bit too far behind this time down the pit straight, and actually I think he's lost a little bit of time on this lap. Yeah, I think he's lost about a tenth on this lap. Oh, Emil Anderson, I think, with an issue. He's made a mistake, I think, going into the Casio triangle, has he? And there he is. So Emil Anderson, who was running in 7th position, and he's fallen right down the order now into 14th, down 6 positions from his starting place. He wasn't even under pressure. He was a little bit by himself, and has he just?
He's just lost on the brakes.
Speed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just looks like he's maybe carried too much speed into the on the entry of the corner, and just lost it on the brakes, and just around she went.
Oh, and Chris Danes has lost out to Chris Wood. So those two swapped positions earlier on, and now Danes has fallen behind Wood. And I think that may have been a fair overtake there from Wood, in a weird position at the end of those S's. And Chris Danes, after benefiting from a mistake from the other Chris earlier on, that's going to get confusing. They have swapped positions once again, and also given Anwar Smith a bit of a buffer just ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, and round. Neither of them want that position, and Chris Wood, well, he's going to lose more positions than just one, and he's got to be careful coming back on the second. He's actually done a pretty good job there of spinning around. So Chris Wood from hero to zero.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I think he just... I don't know what happened. I don't know if he made a mistake in the previous corners. It made his rear tyres overheat, but it just looked like he ran a little bit wide on the apex of the hairpin and tried to get back in the power, and he just lost it. And yeah, it looked like maybe the pressure just got to him from just being under pressure from the other Chris. But yeah, it's definitely gave Anwar a bit of a buffer now. So all Anwar has to do is bring it home.
Yeah, definitely. That should be a pretty simple podium for Anwar Smith now, because he's got a 2.6 second gap over Chris Danes. Kind of top 5 or so, top 6 have kind of just spread out a little bit now. And this is kind of the highest battle there is. Rob Hartley, who, after making that mistake, Rob Hartley actually making his way back up through the field. Very good performance from Rob after that spin earlier on. And yeah, he's actually made his way back past Brian Holmes, I think, quite recently, and could even be able to challenge Diogo Melro by the end of this race. We've also got this battle, Freitas, Clark, and Hall, all running in 11th position currently, and looking very, very close to the back of the East Energy car ahead.
Yeah, I'm just watching Freitas, Clark, and Hall at the moment, and yeah, these guys have been close to each other for most of this race, I think, and I think at the moment it seems to be Clark's having to do a multitasking job at the moment of chasing Freitas, but also having to watch his mirrors behind him to keep an eye on Hall.
Chris Wood is actually back onto the back of Dennis Melcher, so we should keep an eye on Chris Wood because he's much faster than these other drivers, probably fair to say about a second a lap faster than these drivers. And so yeah, he's going to have good chances to maybe make moves on them later on. Here was Danny Henney with a mistake, I think, just going into the hairpin, and that's a bit of a clumsy one there. Just caught the grass on the entry.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! Oh, I was so close to collect another car. Yeah, it just looked like under braking, he caught the grass on the outside with his left front, not left front, his right front and his right rear wheel.
Just opening up out in front. It's 1.1 seconds. It went up quite significantly in the first few laps. Anwar Smith, as he dropped down the field. No, sorry, that was just my time screen. Here's a move there, Andy Shield. Going for a move on Chris Danes. So Danes really struggling these past couple of laps. He's dropped into the 2-minute pause, so I don't know if there was maybe contact earlier on with Chris Wood, but he's really struggling for pace. That's now 2 consecutive 2-minute pause. Just a reference, the leader's doing 2-minute 1s, and the drivers around him doing 2-minute 2s. That was what he was doing earlier on, so an issue seemingly for Chris Danes, and he's got quite a few cars behind him, and yeah, cannot afford to drop off any more pace.
Yeah, it could be maybe Chris is on maybe using a low rear wing downforce setting on the rear, and it's worked. It's been good in the early stages of the race, but towards the end of there's a car off in the background, Brian Holmes.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we get a replay of that. Brian Holmes dropping down to 18th place, so he was running so highly, was Brian Holmes. He was running as high as 8th place at the starts of this lap, and it's just another one of those mistakes. A little bit of an odd one from that angle, at least. Yeah, so Brian Holmes into the wall, and didn't get too much damage, just will give us a better indication of what happened. Has he run wide a little bit here? No, he didn't get on the grass, did he? But he just lost the rear end.
Yeah, he just lost the rear on the exit, and just lost the rear end and smacked the inside wall, and that was it.
So plenty of drivers making mistakes in this race. And yeah, Andy Shields has been a big gainer from all those mistakes. He's running in P5 and could well attack Chris Danes in these closing stages. Yeah, we've only got, we're going on to the last lap actually. So Nick Madsen and Marco Mogren on their last lap, and so are these guys now. So a 4-way battle for this position. Very close between Michael Hall and Teddy Clark. There's a 1/10 of a second between them, and Hall, I think, is going to try to go side by side with them. He's looking to the inside, trying to cover it off. He's going one way, and the other. Michael Hall looking for any way past Teddy Clark, but he just couldn't make it. I thought the inside was open there, right? I'm surprised he didn't go for it.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that, but I have to say, fair play to Teddy. He held his ground, and he defended hard but fairly, and he didn't just let Michael go by him.
Yeah, and he could have easily tried to block his opponent as well, but instead he kept a very straight course, and that was good enough to fend him off. He's only got half a lap more to go, and certainly this second half of the lap much more difficult to make moves into. All over the place of these cars. Michael Hall just running a little bit wide there. through the first Degner and very wide through the second, and that might just be this battle over and done with for 9th position. Still would be a very good race 1 result for them. Chris Danes back on pace on that last lap. He was back in the 2-minute 2, so I don't know what was going on with him before. Nick Madsen, though, he's been in the 2-minute 1s relentlessly through this race. Marco Morgan, who knows, maybe had a little bit more pace in this race 1, but crucially, that qualifying lap, a 10th faster than the rest of the field, has proven decisive as the clock strikes 0. Nick Madsen has only got the Casio triangle to navigate, and it looks like he's going to take the inaugural BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup victory as he rounds the final corner. Nick Madsen wins here at Suzuka, and that's a very well done victory. Lights to flag. Marco Mogren will finish in 2nd place. A little bit hairy at the end there, just about taking home 4th place was Chris Danes on the line. Andy Shield got very close at the end, and Richard Haynes and Tristan Boss very close to one another. So Haynes just backing out a bit. We might still get a very close run to the line amongst these 4. Are we going to see any moves? The line comes up very quickly for the drivers, and Tristan Boss just about hangs on, up 6 places. Richard Haynes up 10 places. Very good performance from him in 14th position. That was a really good race 1 there, Ryan. Usually race 2 in this series is 10 times better. So if it's 10 times better than that, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race to open the series, and yeah, that was absolutely awesome to watch, and that was a great drive by Nick to take the win for the lights to flag. As I see a crushed Momo car coming to the line. Who is that? It's oh yeah, Jim Ayers.
Yeah, so Ayers benefiting from a mistake seemingly from Colin Robinson at the end there. I think Robinson may have finished the bottom of the drivers. So bottom of the drivers on the lead lap. Apologies. Carl Yakelet's also about to finish though. So I think with Cullen also, has he finished? I think he has. Yes, so Carl Yakelet is just going to cross the line now. And yeah, that is everyone across the line. And Nick Madsen was the first to cross the line in 1st place. 1.2 seconds ahead of Marco Mogren in 2nd. And Ross Smith finishes in 3rd, a little bit by himself by the end. Chris Danes had a couple of issues, but he'll be happy to take home a 4th one. 6th on the good. Andy Shield profited from other drivers' mistakes in 5th. Diego Melvo, he did that as well. 12th to 6th. Very good performance from him. Rob Hartley, despite a spin, somehow finishes in 7th. You wonder where he would have been if it weren't for that mistake. Miguel Freitas finishes in 8th, and Teddy Clark finishes in 9th. Michael Hall from 16th to 10th. Emil Anderson, he made a mistake as well in 11th, so too did Danny Henney in 12th. Tristan Bollis went from 19th to 13th. Richard Haynes, 24th to 14th. Michael Blake finishes in 15th with Chris Wood. A mistake at the hairpin cost him a lot of time. He finished a half a minute off the lead in 16th. Should be one to watch like if we get a large reverse good. Dennis Melcher finishes in 17th. There's Brian Holmes in 18th after a mistake. Carl Hardy in 19th. And Roll Means in 20th. Behind that, it was Kip Stevens, Adam McNally, Pete Newman, Lee Deemer, David White, Anthony Jacobson, Jamie Ayres, Max Vogt, Scott Malcolm, Colin Robinson, Ronald Van Uchek in 31st, Carl Yakelet in 32nd, and a lap down, Rafe Cullinan, 3 laps down, Lee Woodburn, 4 laps down, Ewan Kieser and Jordan Weeks, and 6 laps down was Jim Flanagan. And Marco, the best time of the broadcast, it's spin the wheel.
Absolutely, and just 1 second, we are getting the wheel ready. This is the beauty of being live, you know? You never know what's going to happen. So, as we get these beautiful shots from Suzuka, it's a moment of, you know, great tension, but we should have the wheel ready. And here we go. So, let's roll it. It's full -2. Full -2.
Full -2. So, Reef Cullinan was the first eligible. He's not going to get a pole position. Carl Yakala will be the second who was eligible. So that means Ronald Vanucek will be on pole position for race 2 of the evening with Colin Robinson in second. Scott Malcolm will start in third with Max Wright in fourth. Trust me, it'll be a really good race 2. It's looking absolutely superb. Do not miss it. We'll be back in about 25 minutes time in the BSR Porsche Simmortal Cup.
once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher Demerit at the line.
Welcome back to the BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup here, live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Ryan Walker with Marco Barbonet on the cameras. And yeah, we are here for race 2 of the evening, which will be led away by Ronald Vanna Uchek, with Colin Robinson starting alongside him on the front row. Scott Malcolm starts in 3rd, Max Ray in 4th, Jamie Ayres starts in 5th place, and the rest of the field will cycle through for you. Now, we saw an awesome race, Ryan, and hopefully this will be just as good with the fast guys making their way through the field.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Race 1 was a great race to watch, and I think we're in for a good race in race 2 with it being mixed up a little bit. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how these quick guys get through the pack, and yeah, see how it goes, and hopefully the slower guys give them a run for their money.
Absolutely. Away we go here. Really good start for Vanna Uchek. Really close behind us. 3 wide, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We could well see some contact here. No contact in race 1, and so far there's no contact in race 2. A little bit wide though for Ronald. Alt's in the lead, and I think Colin Robinson might be able to go through. No, he's just about held on. Jamie Ayres up 1 position already, up 2 positions already. He's up into 3rd position, and wide.
Ronald's wide.
He's already lost the lead. He's down into 3rd position, and Colin Robinson is up into the lead.
Yeah, just watching behind Colin as well. Jamie Ayres from Momo is up to 2nd place.
Yeah, that was an awesome start for Jamie. Pete Newman up 2 positions. Max Wright falling down the field. He's already down 5 positions from his starting place of 4th.
Oh, car spun in the background.
And that's going to be a slowdown. I think that may be the least of their worries, to be honest. As Teddy Clark goes past Michael Hall, they were fighting all through the first race, and we've got a big old crash.
Yeah, Kip Stevens involved, a few other cars as well. That was mayhem.
Here it was then. There was already a little barging coming out of the S's. And yeah, Kip Stevenson was the first one to spin round then. And actually it was other incidents, I think, that got other drivers involved as well.
Yeah, I was just watching that replay back. That was just pathetic driving. I mean, come on, guys, it's just settle down. Stop driving like divvies.
And the Lee Deemer round as well, so that's not good for him. I don't know if we could go back to the race here. I'm not quite sure if there's been any changes up there. Scott Malcolm just losing out. He's in 6th place. Jamie Ayres, of course, in the lead of the race. Was that the case beforehand? I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, I'm not even going to question it. But yeah. Wait, was that the out of turn 1? Who was leading the? Oh dear. He should be good at this job.
Ronald was leading out of turn 1, and then he ran wide and lost the lead.
But Jamie was only in second place at that point, wasn't he?
I have no idea.
Dear, I think Colin Robinson was right up there, wasn't he? And I think Robinson's had a bit of an off then. So Robinson down into 21st position. So I don't know if we could possibly try to find a replay of what on earth happened to Colin Robinson on that first lap, because yeah, he was right at the front of the pack and now he's dropped right down. Chris Wood just making a move on Scott Malcolm. So Malcolm falling down the field. And yeah, this I think is the replay for Colin Robinson. I can't see it personally, but I'm sure you can see it at home.
Yeah, I'm just watching now to see what happened to Colin, and yeah, trying to see what happened. I don't know if he spun. Oh, he just ran wide.
Yeah, and lost a lot of positions doing so. Very crucial there. Was in a very good position in the race lead, but yeah, that's cost Colin Robinson a whole lot of time. And it does mean Jamie Nies has quite a comfortable lead out in front, 1.8 seconds. We should check in. So the big gainers so far, Teddy Clark up 14 positions from 23rd to 9th. That's not a bad start, is it? Chris Wood up 10 places himself, actually, and he's going to try to go past Ronald Banu-Uchek. So I was talking earlier on how Wood would be a very good pick for this race too, and he's really fulfilling my guess, and he is now into the top 5. So Chris Wood giving himself a good chance at a podium in this race too. Of course, the winners from race 1, Nick Madsen up 10 positions from 31st on grid. Jordan Weeks up 14 positions. And Marco Mogren also up 5 positions from 30th on the grid. So, yeah, mixed start for those fast guys. And it's pretty clear, Ryan, how when you get these big reverse grids, there's absolutely no chance for the front guys to make their way right to the peak. Might still get a top 10 or so, but any further than that, it's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah, I was just watching the replay back from the first lap. It was just some of the driving was just pathetic. I mean, there's just people trying silly moves on lap 1 instead of doing that. Just settle down, guys, and get into a rhythm and just settle down and just get the first few laps out of the way and then try and pick up some positions. But yeah, let's just say that some of the driving Pastor Maldonado would be proud of.
Wow, that's an insult and a half. Yeah, Adam McKnight really close to the back of Pete Newman. Hopefully he won't do a Maldonado move. I don't think Maldonado ever scored points around this circuit. It was not one of his favourite. He didn't score points around most circuits, to be honest.
Yeah, he did get a win at Barcelona, so yeah, I'll give him that.
Oh yeah, that's it though, isn't it?
Pete Newman
actually going through there. So Anthony Jacobson losing out to Pete Newman.
Now he's making a move as well.
I wonder if Jacobson's got like a slowdown or something, or was just really early on the brakes there. Odd for Anthony Jacobson because he was running really well before, and yet jumps down 2 positions in quick succession. I did talk earlier on about Nick Madsen, how he was like in 21st. He's actually in 6th. He's up 25 positions, so that was a bit wrong from me. The other quick guys, Diego Mera, yeah, up 13 positions. Where is Marco Mogren? Don't know if we could just see where Marco is. And yeah, he's right down the order. 27th place. He must have got involved in a collision. Because of the race 3 grid being decided by the race 2 results, right? Just an instant for Marco Mogren has pretty much ruined his evening.
Yeah, I think I don't know what happened to Marco. He might have got caught up in the mayhem in that one. As I'm just watching Adam McNally try to make a move on Pete Newman, and yeah, Adam's having a good run so far in 3rd place, and yeah, I have to give a bit of praise to Adam because he's my team boss on BSR and the MX-5s.
Oh, contact Teddy Clark, and losing out to Ronald Banu-Uchek there. Jordan Weeks up 27 positions just behind. I'm not sure if Weeks even took part in race 1, but he's doing absolutely superbly in race 2. And he's going to be past these guys, I think, pretty soon. Clark actually going past Ronald, and Ronald's lost another position, and he's lost another, so I don't know if he's got some kind of slowdown here or something. but he's losing all kinds of positions, and that could be costly
Oh,
for the
Ronald.
guys just behind. We've got a bit of side-by-side, and going through on the inside there. Fantastic move there from Diego Melro. Moves up a couple of positions.
This is mayhem.
Absolutely. Oh, Ronald's really deep on the brakes there. Brian Holmes profiting from all of that, and he's going to go through. Also losing out was Scott Malcolm, just very hesitant behind Ronald, and he's lost about 2 positions in quick succession, and we've got a couple more cars lining up behind.
Yeah, I'm just watching on board the Iron Brew man, Scott Malcolm. He's having a good run so far, and yeah, where is he at the moment? He is P13, so yeah, good run for Scott so far, and yeah, go on the Scots.
Yeah, he's pulling down the order a bit is Scott Malcolm, but he's stayed out of trouble so far. A little bit off the pace, unfortunately, in these cars, but he desperately needs to get past Ronald Vanajucek because he seems to be a bit slower. Right now, though, he's got to defend, though, from the car behind, and look at this queue behind, and there could be a little bit of contact. Malcolm holds on, he leaves room, though, for that next corner, actually gets a nice little run. Andy Shield, Chris Daines, Rob Hartley, Ronald Moons all queuing up, and this is a fantastic pack of cars. Scott Malcolm, can he defend against Andy Shield? He doesn't usually defend too hard, but here comes Chris Daines. He's going to try to get past the pad then. Ronald Vanajucek is slow as well, and there's going to be a 4-way battle.
Oh, contact!
There's contact between all of them somehow, and there's contact behind as well. We've got an incredible pile up here all over the place.
Oh, that was Rob
Hartley. Wow. Well, it was lining up to be a bit like that. It doesn't usually end up like that. Rob Hartley's fed up in the 33 car. I don't know if we could get like a chopper view or something. Yeah, actually an onboard would be perfect here. And you couldn't even aim to get all 6 of those cars crashing into each other. They managed it.
Yeah, someone's just put in the chat about Jordan Weeks as well. Jordan came in like a wrecking ball.
So I guess he must have been the first person then to initiate that contact. And Weeks, yeah, how is he now? He's still behind Teddy Clark. I think he's got not too much damage, so he should be okay. His sexy times are fine. So he should be able to keep on going on his way. Jordan Weeks looking to the inside here. There's almost contact. That was a little bit ambitious there from Jordan Weeks trying to get past Teddy Clark. He's up 16 positions himself. They've got 8.5 seconds the next car, so this should be it for these drivers. Still not over though, and I wouldn't bet against there being another collision. Here we go. Jordan Weeks is going to go to the outside. You can have superb battles through 130R. Jordan Weeks tries it. He's going to be off the circuit, and can he just fend off that inside? Yes, he can. Weeks goes to the outside. Can he muscle his way around the outside of the first part to go for the second part? He's not going to have to. And skipping the course there is Teddy Clark. He's going to get a massive slowdown now, and that's lost him 4 positions.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I just seen Jordan on the 2 left-handers trying to stick it in. That just came out wrong. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, trying to sneak up the inside of Teddy, and yeah, that all started from there up to 130R.
Yeah, I think it's from Spoon Corner, the fantastic exit from Jordan Weeks, and he tried to make the move. He was a little bit off the circuit, and in the end his driver was very much off the circuit. Diego Melro up 17 positions from his start, trying to get past Danny Henny. I don't think we've talked about Henny so far. He's just gone through all the chaos around him. I said earlier on how race 2 is usually 10 times better than race 1, and boy has this fulfilled that.
Yeah, this is an awesome start so far. We've got Henny, Melro, Brian J. Holmes, and Teddy Clark as well in a 4-car battle. So yeah, this car so far this evening has been producing good racing.
Yeah, so of course big setup for these drivers as well. So this is proper. Everyone, this is purely driver skill. It's not about the car underneath them. This is all about their talent and their racecraft. And yeah, that's all. That's the difference between each of these competitors. Ronald Vanajucek with another off. Remember, he started on pole position, but it seems like he's made an unforced error here, going into the hairpin. And yeah, it's that braking again, I think, Ryan.
Yeah, it just seems to be, I don't know what Roro's struggling with. He's just all over the place on the track. I don't know if he's got damage or stuttering or FPS issues, but yeah, he's just all over the place.
Now this is heating up very nicely out in the lead. Jamie Ayres leads only by 0.8 of a second though. He was 1.2 seconds slower on that last lap than Pete Newman. They've been pretty even on pace, but Ayres must have had a mistake on that last lap. And I look at his sector times, just seemed pretty much slow in all the sectors, to be honest. So worrying for Jamie Ayres. Pete Newman in second, like I said. Adam McNally running well in third. Chris Wood. Remember, I said watch out for him in race 2. I really want him to win now. I'd like to get something right for once with Nick Madsen chasing down these drivers. We're guaranteed a five-way battle for the race win. And if Nick Madsen could win this, Ryan, that would be an incredible victory.
Who for? Sorry, I was.
Nick Madsen, race 1 winner.
Oh yeah, that would be an awesome one to come from that far back and win the race, but I think Pete's got a run on Jamie.
Jamie is trying to defend. He's had a couple of really poor laps. I don't know why. He seems to really be struggling out there now. Pete Newman nudges himself ahead. Round the outside goes Pete Newman. He's all over the place. He might still execute the move. Round the outside he'll go. And he should get a better exit from Spoon Curve. The other drivers getting involved as well. Adam McNally right in the slipstream. And he profit from this. Jamie has moves back into the lead. He did actually get the better run out of Spoon Curve. And they're side by side going into 130. And there's a big contact there. Can he hold on to it, Pete Newman? Yes, he can. But he's lost 2 positions. He might lose another position to Nick Madsen, but Madsen goes through. He's up into P4. And the victory is well in Nick Madsen's sights now.
Oh, sorry about shouting there, but I just got overly excited. But up until that point, that was an awesome battle, and it was just obvious that something was going to happen. We just seen a week of Pete.
You should still be able to catch up to the back of these guys. But yeah, this is properly heating up nicely. Jamie has how on earth he hung on to that race lead. Well done to him for that. I don't think he's going to hold on for much longer. Chris Wood, very strong in race 1. Of course, had that instant in the end. This is a fantastic chance for him to take a race victory. But he's got Adam McNally right on his tail. Nick Madsen yet to apply too much pressure. He's the fastest guy out there, though. And he's certainly going to be in with a chance of the race victory. Certainly the podium is looking very strong with 4.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I'm just watching Jamie now. He just seems to be backing off a little bit. But yeah, Christy Wood, Adam McNally, and Nick Madsen have caught up to Jamie straight away. And I think the way it's going at the moment, I'm placing my money on Chris or Adam to win this race.
Oh, okay. I'll go Nick then, just to spice it up a bit. And they are now all line astern. Pete's going to be in this one as well, of course. He's going to catch up to the back of these guys. Jamie Ayres leads coming out of SpoonCon. They all pretty much get the same exit. Nick Madsen very close to the back of Adam McNally. Is there going to be a change, though, for the race lead? 1.5 tenths. 1 tenth. Madsen's down the inside, going into 130 just behind. And he might be able to pull off that move. Madsen, though, not quite being able to execute it. Just going off the road a little bit was Jamie Ayres ahead. Madsen to the outside. He's not going to go for the move yet, but he's going to get a fantastic cutback going on to the pit straight. He's absolutely nailed that, but has he just had to get out the box? No, he hasn't. He's going to be able to move alongside and surely ahead going into turn 1. Jamie Ayres under big pressure from Chris Wood, though, for the race lead. It's 1.5 tenths a tenth. But just slots in behind. Can Madsen just execute that one down the inside? Not giving up is Adam McNally. He is now, because Nick Madsen has converted that 3rd position.
Yeah, I think these guys, Nick, Adam, and Chris, Nick, and Adam. Sorry, these guys battling away is giving Jamie and Chris a chance to try and scamper away and fight for the win amongst themselves. But if those two at the front get caught up, it could give Nick or Adam a chance to win this race.
We've only got this lap and one more to go. Chris Wood has got to make this move as soon as possible because he's got a lot of fast cars just behind him. Jamie Ayres is all over the place. How on earth he's still leading this race after the ambushes of the past 2 laps? I do not know, but still he holds that race victory in one hand. But boy, does he need to defend well with the other. 0.3 of a second. He's not going to be under pressure this time into spoon curve, seemingly. Madsen is only half a second off second place as Newman is well and truly onto the back of these guys now. Wood wide, and is he going to lose a position to Madsen? He has, and has he just thrown away a potential race victory, Chris Wood? Can he repel the attack maybe from Madsen? These two could potentially lose each other a lot of time. He's going to get into the slipstream as Chris Wood. He must be absolutely furious with himself because they're going to move on to the final lap any moment now. And he's got all the work to do. Nick Madsen, though, he's moved his way up from 31st on the grid. He's up into second. And he's only got one more car to pass to convert an incredible race victory.
Yeah, that mistake from Chris gave Jamie a bit of breathing space, but Nick's caught up to Jamie and he's got a run on him heading into turn 1.
Can he go to the inside, Nick Madsen? Surely Jamie is going to cap to defend.
Oh,
He's not going to defend though. He's maybe going to just give it to him. And Nick Madsen from 31st on the grid is into the race lead, and he might be able to convert the double here today. All over the place, though, these drivers, and it could be 3 wide maybe going into the S's section. Just about moving ahead, though, as Jamie Ayres. He's defended so well. Almost contact between Jamie Ayres, Adam McNally moving ahead of Chris Wood. How on earth has this gone so poorly for Wood in the space of half a lap from second? He might move down into 4th position. Almost fair contact again as Madsen pulls away from these drivers. Pete Newman watches in behind. They've been side by side, these two drivers, for a number of corners now. As Chris Wood just moves ahead again around the outside, though, is Adam McNally. And what a move from Adam McNally to be in third place.
Yeah, McNally just got a little bit twitchy on the exit of the corner there, and yeah, I say one from this. What this has allowed is Nick Madsen to scalper away.
Yeah, this is going to end up being a comfortable race victory for Nick Madsen. I don't think he'd say the same at the end of this race. But they're all still going at it. Jamie Ayres, full credit to him. He has defended like, I don't even like, but he's defended well, is my point. And he's only 0.2 of a second ahead of the drivers ahead. They've all kind of messed up the exit there, all a little bit onto the grass. And actually, Pete Newman looks like the most likely to make a move. But out in the lead is Nick Madsen on this final lap of the race. He won race 1. And it looks as though he's going to do the impossible to win race 2 and potentially put himself on pole position for race 3 as well. As he rounds the final corner, Nick Madsen. And he's going to take the race victory here at Suzuka. The second of the evening for him, with Jamie Ayres just about coming home in second place. Adam McNally gets third. Pete Newman did beat Chris Wood across the line in 4th and 5th. As did Jacobson. This would be a fantastic result for him if he can hang on to 7th. And he does do very well. Ryan Holmes just behind him. Everyone else just coming across the line now, but right, oh wow, and Carl Hardy rounds as well. We saw action near the rear of the field in race 1 through the Cascade Triangle on the last lap, and it seems like we got some more action here. Here was Carl Hardy having to fight against the 999 car of Miguel Freitas. Freitas was on the outside at this point. Hardy bending the inside, and he's just locked the rear on braking, locked up the rear. Off he goes, and what, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think that's 4 positions he lost in the end. So not the finish he wanted whatsoever. I can't remember, so I think just the last driver to come across the line. But yeah, Ryan, what a race. That is absolutely superb action. Nick Madsen from 31st on the grid to win that race. Quite unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a fantastic drive by Nick. I thought at one point he wouldn't be able to win that race. I thought that the battle for the race 1 was between Adam McNally, Jamie, Pete Newman and Chris D Wood. I thought it would have been between those. I thought it would have been between those guys, but yeah, fantastic drive from Nick to come from 31st position to win that race. That was just, he kept a cool head, kept out of trouble, got by when he needed to, pulled away, and yeah, that was like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, it sure was. It was a superb drive from Nick Madsen. And if anyone has any questions of whether who is the championship kind of main favourite, and I don't think you look any further than this man, because so far he's driven absolutely superbly. 2 out of 2. Could he do 3 out of 3? Only 3 drivers managed to do that last season. Remember, of course, no disrespect to them, with half-size grids. Nick Madsen might do it at his first attempt. He wins race 2 of the evening. Jamie Ayres, what defense put up by him in second. Only lost the lead, of course, on that very last lap. Adam McNally finishes in third with Pete Newman in fourth. Chris Wood, what could it be for him if it weren't for a mistake on the penultimate lap at Spoon, running in second place, fighting for the lead. He ends up in fifth. Jordan Weeks, good drive from 36th on the grid in 6th place. Anthony Jacobson finishes in 7th. That's a nice result for him. Brian Holmes in 8th with Teddy Clark in 9th. Danny Henney finishes in 10th. Behind that was Diogo Melro, Andy Shield, Chris Daines, Emil Anderson, Rafe Cullinan, Miguel Freitas, Jim Flanagan, Kip Stevens, Scott Malcolm, and Michael Blake in 20th. Carl Hardy, Max Wright, Ronald Banner-Uchek from pole position to 23rd. Marco Mogren in 24th. Tristan Bollis, Lee Deemer, Ronald Moons, Colin Robinson, Rob Hartley, Richard Haynes in 30th, Carl Yakala, Dennis Melcher, Ewan Kaiser, David White, Anwar Smith in 35th, Michael Hall in 36th, and Lee Woodburn did not take the start in 37th position. If I got the rules right, it's going to be this finishing order, the starting order for race 3. So certainly do not miss that. We've still got some quick guys out of position. We've also got a quick guy in Nick Madsen leading the way of the field. Do not miss it. We'll be back with you in about 25 minutes' time.
Chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line. finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Welcome back to the race 3 of the BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup broadcasting live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Back alongside me is Ryan Walker with Marco Barbanera behind the cameras. We are just lining up for race 3 of the evening with Nick Madsen taking the pole position after winning race 2 and winning race 1 in a quite incredible couple of races, Ryan. I don't know how Nick's managed to do it, but the triple in the first round of this championship is looking very possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a good drive by Nick to win race 2. He just kept out of trouble and just picked up, just made the moves when he had to, and just got it to the end. And yeah, luckily the other guys he was fighting with had issues, and he was there to pick up the pieces and pick up the win.
Absolutely, from 31st on the grid. This should be a little bit easier for him with Jamie Ayres alongside him. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. Race 3 of the evening at Suzuka, and away we go. Madsen with a really good launch once again, but Ayres not getting away whatsoever well, and he's already lost 2 positions. He might lose 3 positions. It's side by side between 2nd and 3rd. McNally versus Newman. Ayres has managed to hang on to 4th, but the position for 2nd is not over and done with. Yeah, McNally should just about be ahead. There's big contact just behind. Newman manages to consolidate that second position, trying to push up his rival. Actually, maybe going a little bit wide there was Adam McNally, but a big impact at the back. I think that was Jordan Weeks, one of the fast drivers in this series, and he's already out of this race, still side by side through the S2 section. McNally having to hold back. Ayres right there. Clark up 4 positions from 9th, right onto the back of these guys.
Yeah,
And a big impact as well, for Cullinan.
Oh, we just about got collected by another car.
It's all going on in this race. I think there was another car at one of the Digners. It's absolutely chaotic. It's side by side all the way down the field, apart from this front bunch, I guess, who are just about sorting themselves out. Madsen leads by 1.8 seconds. Awful start for Jamie as, of course, dropped down to 4th position. I don't know if we can get a replay of that of the exit of turn 1 where all those cars got involved because there was a midfield collision, and similar to what we saw in race 2, Ryan, the drivers really feisty on that first lap.
Yeah, just drivers just trying to fight too early and just try and fight for positions, try and gain some positions rather. It's just fighting on the first lap. It's pointless. Just settle down and just get your head into a rhythm and just settle down in the early stages and just see how it pans out. That's what I would do. But some people just think getting feisty on the first lap wins the race, but I think anyway it doesn't.
Yeah, they'll certainly find out about that, I think, today. John Weeks already disconnecting from the session, so to Andy Shield. So both those drivers out of this race. And yeah, that's their day over. Really disappointing day for Weeks. He missed race 1, I believe, or got caught up in an incident. And yeah, this race day over for him as well. Chris Wood has also left the session. One of the real front runners, of course, 5th in the second race. He's out of the race though right now. Melray currently right on the tail of Teddy Clark. Of course, the big gainer on that first lap, Michael Blake, goes from 20th to 10th. Marco Mogren, who lost out on the first lap in race 2, he's gone from 24th to 11th. So some big gainers there, and then this has really given them a chance at a top results in this third race of the evening. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm just watching now. It's been a good start by Adam McNally. He's currently sitting in 3rd place at the moment, and behind Adam there's Jamie Ayres is sitting pretty as well. Behind Jamie we've got Terry Clark, Melrose, Holmes, and Chris Daines, I believe, as well, and Danny Henney.
Yeah, really close between. Oh, and a spinner there.
No.
Is that Teddy Clark? Oh no, that was Diego. Really good contact ahead as well. Oh, and a couple more spinners. And there's 3 drivers off, and there could be more as well as the other drivers come piling in. Don't know if we can get a replay of that. What on earth happened to Danny Henney there?
I'm not sure. I just seen Melrose spun and then Melrose got going again, and there was 2 or 3 other cars involved in an incident just in front of him, so I'm not sure what's happened.
Yeah, so here we go. So yeah, you already see the incident ahead, and then there was just the tiniest of taps here, and it caused a lot of destruction. Holmes just not past, and that was a bit clumsy from him, and just about going through the middle there. I'm not sure who that was. Very fortunate, and all these drivers were very fortunate. Actually turning back to the pits there, I think was Holmes there, and yeah, going back to pits, and plenty of casualties in these early stages.
Yeah, I think some of the blame has to go on Brian for that incident. I mean, he spun round and he could have, if that was me in that position, I would have held the brakes and just stopped the car rolling. But I think Brian races in VR, so it makes it a little bit difficult to see what's around you. So I don't put all the blame on Brian, but some of it is down to him.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, rolling is the best way to avoid an incident. In that case, certainly just stopping on the brakes would have been a better option, I think, although we're still being in the middle of the circuit. So it's a difficult one. Different drivers have their different attitudes to it. And of course, in the heat at the moment, it's very difficult to make the right choice. It does mean that Chris Danes is now up 8 positions. Marco Mogren is up 17 positions and right on the tail of Pete Newman as well. Just going off the circuit was Jamie Ayres ahead, and he's off again a little bit is as a poor exit. And now, all of a sudden, this is going to be a three-way battle. Ayres had plenty of experience in the second race defending Ryan, and I think this race is going to be very similar for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what it is with Jamie. He seems to be struggling a little bit. I don't know if he's still getting used to the car, or it's maybe he's just not comfortable with the braking of this car as Teddy Clark runs wide a little bit behind him. But yeah, Jamie just seems to be struggling a little bit. But I'm just watching Adam McNally at the moment, who's having a good run in second place, and yeah, just sitting comfortably in second place and having a good run.
Yeah, profited from a poor start from Jamie Ayres. Of course, nearly off the circuit. There's Chris Danes trying to go for the outside into turn one. He's going to go for it though, and that was very great from Danes and a little bit unwise. Teddy Clark there closed the door. He was having none of it. I like the idea there, but you know, this early on in the race, Ryan, I'm not sure if that was completely necessary from Chris Danes.
Yeah, I think it's a bit unnecessary from Chris at the moment. I mean, what these guys have got to remember is there's a pit stop in this race, so try and maybe, if you're stuck behind someone, try and use the pit stops to try and jump some people. And I mean, you might not always pass someone on track, so you could gain positions by maybe pitting early and trying an undercut.
Yeah, that's certainly an option for these drivers. There's quite a long pit lane round Suzuka, so they should come up behind the entire field. That's what they would hope at least, but yeah, we'll have to wait to see. That could be a really interesting dynamic in this racing, in this championship as a whole. Diego Melvo, after his mistake earlier on, he would be right up there. He'd be fighting for a podium right now if it weren't for that. Instead, he's only fighting for a top 10 result. Emil Anderson currently just ahead of him. He had
Diego's moving up the inside.
And there he goes down the inside. Nice and simple into speed corner. We've seen that plenty of times today, Ryan. And Diego, it's difficult to tell how far up he's going to get, but he's got very good pace. I'd say he's possibly, you know, the third fastest driver out there. He's just got to make the moves ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Diego's pace at the moment on the lifetime, and his pace is actually pretty good at the moment. I mean, if he can try and gain some positions back before the pit stops, he could be in a good position. Oh, is that Jamie Ayres spun?
Yeah, it is Jamie Ayres round, and he's lost a whole heap of time as well. 180-degree spin, I think, and Ayres is falling down the field. He's behind Murray, behind Anderson. He's going to be ahead of Flanagan, and it seems like it's going to be a clumsy mistake here from Jamie Ayres after a not particularly good start from second on the grid and got way too much curb, and now she goes.
Yeah, how is this? Just watching now, it looks like it was just too much curb from Jamie, and it unsettled the car, and he tried to get back in the power, and around she went. But yeah, it was unlucky for Jamie because he was having a good run, but he hasn't lost too many positions actually. He's only down to 11th place, so not all lost for Jamie.
To be fair to Jamie there, I don't really know how he got that much airborne because he took a bit of curve there, but that's not a massive curve, so I don't know what that was about. Maybe a little bit of a glitch, but yeah, that shock maybe in the Porsche not helping him out. There's almost a contact here. Out to defend currently is Teddy Clark, so against Chris Danes. Danes is significantly faster than his rival. They've lost about 3.7 seconds to Adam McNally, going very well in second place currently. And soon you're going to have the likes of Newman and Mogren involved in this battle as well. They're not sluggish drivers either.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, Pete Newman, Marco Mogren, Miguel Freitas, Melrose, Tristan Bottas, they're all really quick drivers, and if Teddy and Chris keep scrapping the way they are at the moment, that'll give those guys a
contact! And he's off the circuit on the inside of 139. He's hung on to it, but he's going to get a big old slowdown. And really, I'm not going to say, well, I feel as though Chris Danes there should let Teddy Clark back past, because I think that was a pretty obvious mistake there, unless Teddy Clark maybe brake checked him. I doubt it. Did he come across here and No, that was
Oh, he's
pretty
through
bad there
down.
from Chris Danes. Good save by Teddy Clark, and Danes hasn't given the position back. I don't know, I feel like that was a bit obvious for him to do that.
Yeah, I think I would have to put the blame down to Chris, the full blame on Chris for that. I mean, Teddy was doing what he was entitled to do, defending his line, and he slowed down for the corner, and it was just a lack of reaction from Chris. So yeah, full blame on Chris for that. And I think if I was in Chris's shoes, I would give that position back.
Yeah, especially considering it was in the end the slowdown that, of course, cost Teddy Clark the position. Had to get out of the throttle, and that was enough to let his rival pass. And yeah, I don't really know why Chris Danes didn't just let that one pass, but he has now got the opportunity to chase down Adam McNally just ahead. Marco Mogren will be next onto the back of this pack. We've also got Diego Melre just in the background there. He'll be charging down these guys. We've also got a really good battle between Kaiser, Stevens, White, Hartley, and Wright, I think, out there. Good old big battle here. 5 cars. And this should be pretty even. I think they're all pretty even on pace with there. Rob Hartley maybe the fastest out of these guys, but should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I've watched Rob Hartley a few times in other leagues that I race in with him. Sometimes he's in the Mazda MX-5. He's one of the quickest people out there, and I think this car for Robert he's still learning about the car, and it's a different kettle of fish. So I think it will take maybe a couple of races for Robert to get to grips with this car, but once he does, I reckon he'll be right up there.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers still kind of understanding this car course. Oh, and a slowdown there, and Pete Newman is into the pit. So the first driver to come into the pit, seemingly. So yeah, difference actually there from Newman. Clearly doesn't feel like fighting the likes of McNally and Danes and Clark and Mogren and Freitas. We also need to come into the pits, and also into the pits is Rob Hartley. These drivers will only be taking fuel, not tyres, because tyres will take a long old time. So yeah, and that will send them to the end of the race with 22 minutes to go.
Yeah, I was chatting to some of the people that are taking part in this series on the BSR Discord earlier on, and they said that you won't need to change tyres. You'll just have to take fuel. It's just fuel only you'll need. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if people take fuel only, or if they take tyres as well, and try and play a bit of a different strategy.
Yeah, I think the time it loses you, I don't think it's worth it, especially in such a short race. I know I did a Bathurst race, Bathurst 12 hours at the beginning of the year, and I think we could do double steers. Oh, car around there. That was Kip Stevens, I think. Yep, there he is. Loses it on the second deck nut. A mistake that has been made many times, and Kip Stevens falls down the order.
Yeah, it just looked like Kip just lost the rear end on the exit of the corner. Just maybe too much speed in the middle of the corner, and yeah, just around she went.
So at this point in the race then, because I think it's probably good to go through the standings before the pit stops really kick off, Nick Madsen leads the race. He's 10 seconds clear of Adam McNally, lapping consistently 1.5 seconds a lap faster. Chris Danes is in 3rd place. He's about half a second lap faster than McNally. He will be charging him down. Teddy Clark having a good run in 4th. Marco Mogren, remember, 2nd place in race 1, had a big issue in race 2 though. That's why he started so far down. He's already up 19 places. He could well be up a few more by the end of this race, with Miguel Freitas in 6th after starting in 16th. Diego Melre is in 7th after a mistake earlier on. He's got very good pace. Justin Bodis, a little bit under the radar, up 17 places. He's in 8th, with Jamie Ayres after making a mistake from running in the top 3 earlier on. He's in 9th. Jim Flanagan, also very understated, in 10th, and up 21 positions, both of them, Kaiser and White. And they're pretty close to Flanagan, charging him down. And we've got plenty of fast guys out here, Ryan. I keep on saying, you know, fast driver, but it kind of shows the quality of this build.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at some of the drivers that are racing in the series. It's just there's a lot of very quick drivers that racing in the series, and also you've also got a mixture of other drivers as well. Some not so quick, some that are quick but not as quick as some of the guys up at the front. So yeah, it makes the racing in the field great to watch, and it produces great battles as well. Also, I'm just looking at Jamie Ayres as well. He's caught right up to the back of Tristan Bottas. Oh, Jamie just got side.
Yeah, Bottas struggling a little bit on that last lap. He was in the 2-minute 4s. Compare that to the race leader, 2-minute 1s, and the majority of the field can't 2-minute 2s, 2-minute 3s. So I don't know what's going on with Tristan. It must have just been a mistake. I'm looking at his sector times, and yeah, well, he had a poor final sector. I don't think he made too many mistakes, to be fair. Just a bit of a sluggish lap for him. Jamie Ayres closing right into the back of him. Almost off the circuit there's Jamie Ayres. You don't want to do that. Don't want to dip a wheel onto the grass at that point in the track. They got a nice little gap to Jim Flanagan behind them. You can see the drivers of Kaiser and White closing in very quickly. And Anderson as well, also very quick on that last lap.
Yeah, I'm just watching now. Yeah, the quickest lap of the race so far, I think. So, yeah, he's definitely stepping it up.
Newman right onto the back of Robinson. Robinson struggling a little bit for pace today, but Newman, of course, after that pit stop earlier on, he's got to make sure that he gets through nice and quickly. By the way,
Up
his pit stop
inside.
was 7 seconds as he gets the move done. His pit stop was 7 seconds. Pete Newman, compare that to other drivers who have pitted. Yeah, about 7 seconds. Should be about the time that these drivers are stationary in their pit stop. Or keep that in mind for later on. Mogan, of course, really got the momentum behind him. Freitas also very quick as well. And they are charging down Teddy Clark. If Mogan can get this one done nice and quickly, Brian, I think a second position is still very possible for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Marco's having a good run so far, and I think if he can get right behind Teddy and get a run on him on the exit of the last corner, I think he could get Teddy into get up the inside of Teddy into turn 1, and if he can just keep up his pace that he's doing at the moment, I think he could, if he keeps out of trouble in this race, he could be on for a top 3 finish.
Yeah, because he can see Danes only just ahead. Of course, like I said earlier on, overtaking not too easy around this circuit, but I've seen plenty of overtakes so far today. And of course, Madsen going from 31st to the race victory kind of shows how it's very possible. Miguel Freitas really showing good pace at the moment. Very competitive in this race 3. You'll be looking at a potential podium. Jamie Ayres trying to come back at Tristan Bottas. Once again, Bottas considerably slower. Just can't quite get that move done, Jamie Ayres. He seems a little bit erratic today, Ryan, I'd say. I don't know if it's just his driving style, his racing lines, or whether he's not quite used to this car, but he always seems to be a little bit leery.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I mean, Jamie, from times I've watched him at BSR, he's one of the quickest drivers on the league, but I've only raced against him in the Mazda MX-5, and I guess he's more used to this racing the Mazda. I mean, the Mazda you can throw around into the corners and it will stick. With this Porsche, you've got to be a lot more smoother and not overdrive the car. You've got to use, in a way, in the corners, the old technique, slowing fast out.
Yeah, that is absolutely crucial to the Porsche, at least from... I've driven this Porsche quite a lot. And yeah, one of the misconceptions with quite a leery car as this is, of course, to drive it really hard and try to really wrestle it around the circuit, when actually, when you've got a car which struggles with grip like this, it's actually a bit more important to be smooth and make the most out of the grip available. Jamie Ayres maybe just getting the hang of that. The 46 car really closing in. Tristan Bottas, though, up the hill they go. He might look to the inside here, going into 130. This would be very brave from Jamie Ayres, and down the inside he goes. And Tristan Bottas has not got a response, and that was very nicely done by Jamie Ayres.
Yeah, that was a great move by Jamie. Just nice and simple up the inside, kept it on the racing line, and yeah, signed, sealed, delivered.
Chris Danes and Teddy Clark into the pits, and that's just what Marco Mogren wanted to see. That's absolute heaven just opened up for him ahead. Melro right onto the back of these guys now. So Melro absolutely flying along. Yeah, Mogren, well, Melro on that last hole was 1.3 seconds faster than Mogren. Maybe Mogren getting a little bit held up by the other drivers. But yeah, now these three have got to absolutely nail a handful of laps, try to get the overcut on their rivals. And that would be it would be looking very, very good for them if they managed to do that.
Yeah, it's just with Marco having clear air now, I think he can just put the hammer down and try and put in as many quick laps as possible, and try and catch Nick Madsen and Adam McNally up at the front. Yeah, we've not seen a lot of Nick or Adam at the moment. They just seem to be out in a world of their own at the moment.
Yeah, Nick is consistently half a second a lap faster than just everyone else out on circuit. Admittedly, Marco's been involved in a bit of traffic recently, so it'll be interesting to compare those two times. But yeah, Madsen leads the race by 16 seconds of Adam McNally. He's just driving a solid race right now, McNally, not the fastest driver out there whatsoever, but he has not got caught up in too many incidents and made some good overtakes earlier. I'll be interested to see if Mogren can catch him by the end of the race. We'll have to wait to see if any of these drivers come into the pits. We expect everyone to have to come into the pits probably in the next 3 laps or so. If you were Melro at this point, Ryan, would you pit, try to get out from underneath the Freitas? Because that's what he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say, if I was in Melrose's shoes, I would dive into the pits right now and just try and jump Freitas and Mogren in front of him and see if just try and get come back out in clear air and just put some hot laps down.
The issue for Melro, I think he's going to be behind Chris Danes when he comes out of the pits. So that could be a big issue for him. We'll see where Danes is, see where Melro is. Melro just coming to the end of the pits. He had a quick old pit stop actually, did Melro, but it's not enough. And he is behind, and he's behind by quite a margin. You can just see him come out of the pits there. And Melro is actually behind Newman as well. So not all good for Diego Melro. He's got past Pete Newman as well at the end of this race. Chris Danes getting held up in traffic. That's only going to help the likes of Mogren and Freitas to get that overcut on him.
Yeah, I mean, if I was still in Melrose's shoes, I would have pitted early anyway. I mean, the only downside is with him pitting now, it's just he's came back out behind a bunch of traffic. So I don't know if that'll lose him some time, or it depends if these guys are pitted or not. I believe these guys haven't pitted, so if these guys pit this lap, then it might not hinder Melro as much as we think it will.
Chris Danes, dare I say, getting a bit of karma for what he did earlier on to, who was it? It was Newman, was it? Oh dear, I should really know. Oh dear, I've forgotten who it was who he tapped around, but I think this is paying him back for not giving the position back earlier on. Maybe if he did that, he wouldn't be in this situation, because he's losing a whole heap of time behind Max Wright, who's up 14 places, but of course is yet to make the pit stop. He'll be praying that Wright pits on this lap, unless he can maybe get the move done going into the Casio Triangle. Through 130 how they go. Nice little run for Chris Danes. Right on the tail, he might be able to look to the inside into the final corner. But he's not close enough, didn't feel the need to. Maybe he feels as though his rival will be coming into the pits this time round. He was wrong to think that, and instead he's going to have to try to get the move done into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. The only issue is with these guys battling at the moment, Diego Melrose stuck behind these guys, and if he gets stuck behind them for too long, it could cost him time and maybe cost him a chance of possibly jumping some of these guys. As who was that? I just ran wide.
That was Max Wright. So Danes is through now. A mistake from Max Wright. Kip Stevens is next up after his antics earlier on. I don't know how Stevens is that far up the road. They're very impressive from Kip because he had that spin across earlier on. Kind of shows if it weren't for that, he'd be really in a competitive position. He has just lost out to Pete Newman and of course has pitted. Next up will be Diego Melro going into the Degner. No way through the first one, of course, not really an overtaking spot. And usually the second one isn't too good either, but maybe the hairpin will be an opportunity for Diego Melro. Needs to be brave on the brakes. Stevens, does he cover the inside? Didn't really, there was room on the inside there, but Melro not being the confidence to go for it. And these two still very close to one another. Newman not really pulling away from these guys quite yet.
Leader next Madsen in the pits.
So Madsen will come into the pits. He should be... no, he won't be leading the race, but he's going to be near to it. Melro goes down the inside, finally, of Kip Stevens. And I'll be able to move on to Pete Newman next. Anyone else coming into the pits? McNally's just gone past. Looks like Mogan and Freitas are both going to stay out. So going really long in this first stint. And you've got 8 minutes to go. And of course, it's going to be the same pit stop time for everyone. But I think Mogan and Freitas, if they pit now, they should stay in that that third and fourth positions. I guess, man. I don't really know. It's hard to call. But I think their pace has just about been good enough to jump the likes of Melro and Newman.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Flanagan in the pits as well, so that gives Diego Melro another position as Melro's making a move on Pete Newman into turn 1.
Nicely done from Melro. Just about gets it stopped. It's a little bit hairy down there. Next up will be Chris Danes, who actually will fancy a decent chance against. How's the back marker just going out of the way, I think. But yeah, Danes is 2.5 seconds up the road. Ahead of that, of course, is Bodice. And Madsen came out in 4th position. He had a 9-second pit stop, a little bit longer than the other drivers. But yeah, should still comfortably win this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just watching McNally now, and I think he'll be in the pits at contact into turn 1 with Cullinan and who was that? I don't know who else that was.
That was Keyser, I think, going round. And yeah, Big Cullinan got a slide on and got onto that AstroTurf. And oh, that's not good when you fall victim to that AstroTurf. It's horrendous getting a slide and then going onto that because you're guaranteed to have a spin just as he did there. And he's lost a whole load of time, unfortunately. Melro, yeah, sorry, I was about to say Melro ahead of Newman. We saw that earlier on in the lap. Newman actually trying to come back against him now. A little bit wide there for Newman, and Melro just about holds onto the position. Nice little run, actually, potentially, for Newman. Right into the slipstream.
Yep.
Also, Freitas in.
Yep, McNally as well.
So it'll be interesting to see where those guys come out. McNally, well, should be way for these guys. Freitas, though, will be around Danes. This will be very interesting. Freitas, just stationary right now. He gets a 6-second pit stop. That's a fantastic pit stop for Miguel Freitas, and that might just be enough to keep him ahead of Chris Danes. Danes moves ahead, and Freitas comes out of the pits. Will he be ahead of these drivers? That's the big question. No, he's not. He's just about slotted in between them, if that was even possible. He's behind Newman, he's behind Melro, and Freitas, I think, will be a little bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what happened to Adam McNally. He had a slow stop. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if he got a speeding penalty on the pit entry.
Yeah, it was a horrendous pit stop. Absolute. Well,
yeah, it sounds like.
So it must have been we think he got a speeding penalty then. Really disappointing for Adam McNally. I genuinely feel sorry for him. He's driven absolutely superbly today, especially in this race, lining up a 2nd position, and that's absolutely ruined it for him.
Yeah, according to our director Marco, it seems he said the pit stop was 50 seconds, I believe. So yeah, it could have been. Yeah, it sounds like a speeding penalty.
Well, he's just going to be a bit lonely, I think, in 8th place to the end of the race, unfortunately. Might be able to, yeah, of course, still Kip Stevens to come into the pits. Does mean that Marco Mogren is looking very good right now for 2nd position, but we won't bank on it yet because Chris Danes should be pretty close to him. And Mogren is now into the pits with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, just watching Marco now to see how long his pit stop is. He's just leaving the pits, I think.
Wow, super quick pit stop, 4.5 seconds. Compare that to everyone else who's around 7 seconds. That could be crucial. Where is Chris Danes in relation to this? Marco Mogren coming to the end of the pit lane. And I think he's clear of Chris Danes. Yes, he is. The overcut has worked an absolute treat. He's a long way clear as well of Chris Danes. About 4.5 seconds ahead. And Marco Mogren, 2nd in race 1. And despite an awful race 2, he's going to get another 2nd in race 3. That's a fantastic effort from 24th on the grid. Now, of course, the battle is Danes versus Mulroy versus Newman versus Freitas. This is the one to watch. Danes, pretty strong pace still out there, to be fair, but Mulroy on that last lap was 0.3 fastest, edging closer. Newman showing better pace than he was in the mid part of this event, and Freitas as well, also coming back after a bit of a sluggish kind of in lap, I think. And this should be a good battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah. So what have you thought of the opening round of the series there, Sam?
I think this has been absolutely great. I must say, I think, you know, 35 cars turning up for this event is, I must say, I was a little bit surprised. I was a bit concerned that we were going to get some low numbers, but we got this many cars and this strength of depth as well. It's really is a good sign. And I think 12 rounds, 11 more rounds coming up of this championship could be an absolute blockbuster of a series. And yeah, of course, we're very pleased to cover it on Apex Racing TV. Jamie is trying to come back against Jim Flanagan. Down 12 positions, of course, from his front row start, Jamie has after a mistake early on. But he's trying to recover. This is as far as he's going to get, I think. Flanagan, I think, just driving a really mature race, I must say, Ryan. He hasn't made any mistakes from what I've seen. Profited from other drivers' mistakes. And this would be a nice little P13 for him if he can hang on.
Yeah, it's been a good run by Jim. He's not been the quickest, but he's kept out of trouble and just picked up the pieces when other people have been slipping up. And yeah, I think if he makes it to the end of the race and finishes in P13, I think that'll be a great reward for a good race.
Of course, we've also got Teddy Clark. So what happened to Teddy Clark then? Yeah, do you recall what happened to Teddy Clark? Oh, was he tapped around earlier on? He was tapped around, I think, earlier on by Chris Danes. Apparently Teddy Clark had a 1 minute pit lane time. That hasn't come up on my screen. But yeah, he must have got a slowdown, or I say a speed penalty actually. That's like 25 seconds lost. That's 25 seconds slower than everyone else. That's absolutely horrendous for him. So feel sorry for Teddy Clark because he's had good pace today. But yeah, those pit lane times really proving costly today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just watching Miguel Freitas as well. He's right in the back of Pete Newman, and if Miguel can get a good run on the exit of this last left-hander heading up to 130R, I think he might be able to get. He just got upside. He ruined his exit there.
Yeah, he was desperate to just floor it, wasn't he? And get the best exit possible. Is this the last lap? Don't think it is. I think this is now the last lap we're going on to. The timer did tick down to 0, just before he crossed the line there, Nick Madsen, but he didn't get the white flag on the previous lap. So this is now the last lap for the drivers. And Freitas still hasn't got that one done. He's half a second behind. Maybe his best chance has gone. Maybe the best chance, though, for Diego Melro, though, going into turn 1 because Chris Danes, not a brilliant exit. Melro goes to the inside for 3rd position in this race. And Diego Melro moves through into the top 3. I don't know if Danes has got some kind of issue, but no resistance up whatsoever. Whether he's got like a fuel issue or something. He's already dropping back Chris Danes, and I fear the worst one.
Yeah, but maybe I'm fearing the worst, that Chris Danes is maybe underfueled in his pit stop and not putting enough fuel. I'm just watching his onboard and he's coasting a little bit and he's not going full throttle. Oh, he is lifting. I think he's got issues with fuel.
Oh, this is painful for Chris Danes. Like, I had a go at him earlier on. No one wants to see this, though. Because he's going to lose at least 2 positions, and when a driver is lifting off like this, I can kind of fear as though it's going to be even worse than that, that it's going to maybe splutter across the line. This is not a nice circuit to go the last few corners, you know, spluttering. Chris Danes going to lose out to Pete Newman, going to lose out to Miguel Freitas, and here we go. He's got big old problems here, Ryan, and we just wait to see how far he can get.
Yeah, I'm just watching his onboard now, and he's not using full throttle, or he's lifting and coasting a little bit. So yeah, he's got fuel issues and he's underfueled at the pit stop, which is a shame because he was having a good run, but oh well, that's the way it goes.
Nick Madsen, he's going to do the chip pull. What a performance from him today. I really didn't think this would be possible in this series. He's done it on the first occasion. Nick Madsen, what a drive to win this race 3 and to win all the races today. Only 3 drivers managed to do it in the BSR GT last season. I think only 4 drivers have ever done it in the BSR GT, and now he's done it in the BSR Porsche Simmortal Cup. Across the line, these drivers are coming now. So where is Danes? So his Danes crossed the line. He's now approaching the line, and Chris Danes is going to finish in 6th position. That's the important one. Emil Anderson trying to get the move on Tristan Bottas, almost into the back of Bottas there. And there could be a chance here for Emil if he can nail the exit. He hasn't nailed the exit, though. He's going to try to pressure Tristan across the line. It's not going to be enough, though. Bottas will hang on to a top 10 result. Nice result for him from 25th on the grid. And these 3 are going to finish line astern. Don't think there's going to be any changes across the line. The line comes up so quick around here, and it is Jim Flanagan, Teddy Clark, and Jamie Ayres in 15th position. Dennis Melcher is going to hold up with, going to lose out to Lee Diemer just ahead of him as well. Not too many finishes in that final race. Plenty of incidents, but yeah, Ryan, awesome first meeting of this series. Like I said earlier on, I was a little bit skeptical about the numbers. But we have had an awesome turnout, and we've had 3 awesome events.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic racing this evening. Yeah, 35 cars for the opening round of the series. It's good to see, and hopefully the rest of the season produces great racing like we've seen tonight, and I look forward to it. Yeah,
definitely. We can only hope. I ought to know where we're going next. I don't. So I'm going to look on the BSR website, if I possibly can. So see where we're going next. But for now, I'll go through the results whilst that's loading up. Nick Madsen wins race 3 of the evening, 15 seconds clear of Marco Mogren. Really good result from Marco. Second in race 1, had an incident right at the start of race 2, which ruined that chance. Went from 24th to 2nd in this race. Really good showing from him. Diego Melro finishes in 3rd place. Good overtakes from him, with Pete Newman hanging on to 4th. He starts in that position as well. Miguel Freitas finishes in 5th from 16th on the grid. Chris Danes finishes in 6th. Fuel issues near the end for him. Rob Hartley, good recovery from 29th to 7th. Michael Hall. I don't think we talked about Michael Hall. What a drive. 35th to 8th. Well done, Michael. Sorry we didn't really talk about you too much, but you were just so under the radar. 8th place, though. Well done. Adam McKnight finishes in 9th from 3rd on the grid. Tristan Bottas in 10th. That's a nice result for him. Emil Anderson finishes in 11th. Then it's David White, Jim Flanagan, Teddy Clark, Jamie Ayres, Kip Stevens in 16th. Then it's Max Wright, Ewan Kaiser, Lee Deemer, Dennis Melcher, Faith Cullen, Anwar Smith. He must have had a big old issue. Colin Robinson in 23rd. Ronald Means in 24th, and a lap down was Carl Hardy and Richard Haynes, and then more than one lap down. Ronald Vanny Uchek, Michael Blake, Danny Henney, Anthony Jacobson, Brian Holmes, Scott Malcolm, Chris Wood, Jordan Weeks, and Andy Shield. A couple of those drivers getting involved in a collision at the start of the race. We do have post-race interviews. Apparently, we got no one in the interview racing yet. Montreal, the next race.
Indeed.
And that will be, well, that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, Ryan? Yeah, Montreal street circuit, in a way. Second race in this series. Not sure if it's the best place to have the second race in this series with Joe still down in the car, but it's sure going to be a good test.
Yeah, Montreal is one of those tracks. It's just that it's a good track for racing, but the small nature of the track and a big amount of cars like we had tonight, I think next week could be, probably sound harsh for saying it, but it could be a wreck fest.
Yeah, we can only hope. Adam McNally is with us now, though. And Adam, sorry about that third race. You were driving really well in second position. You must be really frustrated picking up that speeding penalty.
I read it as it said 57 or 37, so I dropped to 50, then realised, and by that time it was too late, I was already given a penalty. And then just underfueled by about 2.2 of a gallon, and just didn't have enough to make it across the line. Just one of them things, just totally unravelled.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be, the first weekend. It's going to happen, I guess, in this series. But apart from that, just take us through kind of each of your races today.
Well, race 1, qualifying went alright, got 11th, had a spin on the early laps of race 1. But race 2, I had a great battle with Jamie Ayres, and I think it was Pete Newman and Chris Wood. But Nick's pace is just unbelievable. Like, you can't even keep up with him. Full stop, he was gone race 3. He'd already checked out after lap 1. And like I said, just messed up the pits all on me one accord, can't blame no one but myself. Still finished inside the top 10, so still decent points.
Yeah, absolutely. That 9th place was very impressive. That race 2, though, that was a pretty epic battle amongst kind of you top 5 or so. At any point, did you think that you kind of had the pace to win it? Because I think you got up to 2nd place at one point.
Yeah, coming up to 130, but that's kind of my mistake on Pete. Sent him a bit sideways, but he had a great save. But yeah, I felt like I could have had the pace to maybe sneak it on the last lap. I was a bit more hesitant, waited till the last lap, but it was a good race. Jamie drove well, Pete drove well, so I'm happy. Like I said, had a mint race all night.
Yeah, absolutely. You must be really impressed by this championship. How were the kind of driving standards out there? You've already been quite complimentary about a lot of the drives out there. We saw a few kind of lap 1 issues, but apart from that, I'd say, the standards were pretty good today.
Yeah, I think with the lap 1 issues is the car's so on the edge all the time to driving anyway. When you've got cold tyres on that lap 1, it does seem to take a while to get the temperatures up into the Porsche's tyres. So it makes it a bit more twitchy into corners and on the braking. But to be honest with you, I didn't really see much incidents, obviously, behind in race 2 and 3. So it all looked clean from my side.
Yeah, that's all kind of what happened. All that kind of mattered, from your points of view, I guess. And next week we've got Montreal. We already talked about that potentially being a bit of an incident fest, let's say. What's your view on that?
I love Montreal. Great course, especially in the Porsches as well. Really suit the Montreal course, so it should be interesting. But like I said, just trying to work on getting that pace Nick's got, because it's unmatchable at the minute. Just like to say congratulations to him on all 3 wins all night as well. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty insane how he does it. And Of course, with fixed setup in this league, it's kind of difficult to put your finger on, how he's so fast. And is it in some way quite, quite a relief that you kind of know that it's you that you kind of got to work on. You just got to really knuckle down and nail on your driving. You don't have to fuss about the setup.
Yeah, I find it's mainly the brakes. I've got to work on my braking in the car. It's so easy just to lock a wheel up, and once you've locked that wheel up, making the apex is just impossible. So I know that's where I've got to work on in the car, especially. And maybe a bit coming out on the throttle a bit too early out the corners as well. Likes to get a bit twitchy, but it's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly looked good fun out there today. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone who organises it, and Apex for the broadcast, and obviously all of our sponsors with Youth Energy, and the Racing Mentor, motorsportdayslive.com, Tom's Vehicle Detailing, and the Prix Premature Baby Foundation. And that's it, really.
Thanks, Adam. Will we see you on Tuesday then?
Yeah, Tuesday night for the MX5s.
Yeah, cool. See you then.
Right, thank you.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the only interview we've got. So I think that's pretty much us rounded up. Of course, tomorrow we've got the World GT. Tuesday, like we just mentioned, the Mazda MX-5 BSR Cup. Wednesday, we'll have the Le Mans Series. Thursday, BSR TC Pro Series. And on Saturday, I don't think we've really got anything. And then on Sunday, you'll be back with us. Also got the first round of the F1 Championship thing on Sunday afternoon. So certainly don't miss that. That should be really good fun. That's the inaugural event of that. And yeah, round 2 of the BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup next week at the same time. But for now, from me, from Ryan, and from Marco, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you. Well, we'll see you next time.